All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking some pretty dense commercial banking and notarial law and, well, we're turning it into a high-stakes playbook. We are going to show you exactly how to bulletproof your assets, whether that's physical bullion or tokenized digital certificates, so they actually survive in the modern financial system.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover the playbook, attachment, perfection, priority, default enforcement, and wrap up with the banking compliance bridge. Let's get right into it.
Okay, starting with Section 1, the Secured Transaction Playbook.
Our foundation really begins with UCC 9102. Now, what's the core use case here? Well, definitions absolutely drive classification. Think about it. You literally cannot protect $1 million token if you legally misclassify it on day one. A deposit account, a negotiable instrument, and a general intangible all have completely different rules. If you casually classify a digital asset as a physical one, your legal protection just vanishes when you need it most. It's that simple.
Which brings us to this quote, which I think brilliantly hits the nail on the head. These legal codes aren't just magical jargon you slap into a contract. No, they are mandatory, operational checkpoints you absolutely must pass to make your collateral commercially useful. Sure, a blockchain hash or a notarial certificate might strengthen your evidence, but on their own, they do not create a security interest and they definitely don't replace governing law. You've got to actually cross those legal checkpoints. Absolutely no confusion of intent can be misconstrued here.
Moving on to Section 2, Attachment, Creating the Lien.
So, under UCC 9203, attachment is what actually creates your security interest, and it strictly requires 3 steps: value given, debtor rights in the collateral, and an authenticated security agreement. It's like a puzzle, right? If a borrower tries to pledge a rare coin they don't actually own, your agreement is completely worthless. And hey, vague descriptions like "my coins"? Yeah, that's going to fail for sure. You need itemized schedules to make this enforceable.
All right, Section 3, Perfection, Protecting Your Claim.
Okay, so the general rule here is UCC 9-310. This is where filing a UCC-1 creates a public record of your claim, even though, it doesn't automatically prove priority. A UCC-1 is really a notice record. Its main use case is acting as a giant flag to the rest of the world, basically saying, hey, I have a claim on this specific personal property. It's often your baseline method for perfecting a security interest, especially when you're dealing with general intangibles. But if you're dealing with high-value physical assets, think rare coins or bullion, you'll want to use UCC 9-313. This relies on physical possession or a signed acknowledgement from a direct custodian like a Vault Bailey. Because honestly, leaving a portable 6-figure coin with the debtor? Super risky. Taking physical possession or getting a third-party vault to legally acknowledge they hold the asset exclusively for your benefit heavily reduces the risk of it being secretly sold or swapped out. And for the modern era of digital assets, we turn to UCC 9314, which is perfection by control. If your collateral is, say, a tokenized vault receipt, you must establish exclusive legal control. The primary use case here is proving beyond a doubt that you have the sole power to benefit from and transfer that digital record. It is absolutely crucial for digital finance.
Let's actually break down the financing statement itself, looking closely at the secured party and debtor relationship. You must nail the exact contents under 9502 and carefully track the duration under 9515. For 9502, the use case defines the required elements. You need the exact legal name of the debtor, the secured party, and a sufficient description of the collateral, whose integrity, by the way, can be attested to. Listen, if you misspell the debtor's legal name, your entire filing might be invalid. And under 9515, you have to remember this contract doesn't last forever. It deals directly with the lifespan of the statement, so you've got to actively manage it and follow continuations before it expires.
Okay, moving into Section 4, Priority. Winning the hierarchy. So, what happens when multiple lenders claim the exact same asset? Well, under the general priority rule of 9322, the first to file usually wins. And since there's no legal tender involved, we opt into these rules immediately. But UCC 9327, that is where things get super interesting for digital finance. For deposit accounts with ERC 3643 tokens, priority is based entirely on control. Whoever maintains actual control is the one who legally gets to add that asset to their balance sheet. In the digital space, actual control defeats a piece of paper every single time.
Which brings us to Section 5, Default and Legal Enforcement.
If a borrower actually defaults, you need a precise legal playbook to recover your value. These 4 codes form your exact citation playbook for debt collection. First, 9609 gives the secured party the right to take possession of the collateral. Next, 9610 governs the disposition, or sale of that collateral. Then, 9615 dictates exactly how the application of proceeds from that sale must be handled against the debt. And finally, 9623 gives the debtor redemption rights, meaning they can redeem the collateral if they fulfill their obligations before it's sold. You have to follow these to the letter.
Let's zoom in on UCC 9610 for a second. The crucial point here is you can't just sell seized collateral however you feel like it. The disposition absolutely must be commercially reasonable and meticulously documented. If you seize a highly valuable numismatic coin, you can't just dump it at a local pawn shop for a fraction of what it's worth. No way. You must use an appropriate auction venue, provide expert descriptions, and give proper notice. A defective sale process can create massive legal liability for you, even if your original lien was completely flawless.
And finally, Section 6, the Banking Compliance Bridge.
So we transition over to Title 31 of the U.S. Code, specifically Sections 5311 through 5336 and the Banking Secrecy Act framework, along with Title 31 CFR Chapter 10 FinCEN regulations. This is the ultimate bridge to decentralized finance. They mandate strict anti-money laundering controls and currency transaction reports, or CTRs. The intent here is crystal clear. You absolutely cannot bypass Know Your Customer laws just because your collateral happens to be on a blockchain. Actually, these exact compliance steps and CTRs for account holders are the very reason traditional players can legally bridge into and participate in tokenized ERC 3643 ecosystems.
Building an ironclad claim requires serious discipline. If you skip the definitions of 9102, fail the control tests of 9314, or ignore that FinCEN reporting bridge, your security interest is literally nothing more than an illusion. Sure, you might have a beautiful token on a screen, but do you actually have a legal claim? So, take a close look at your own balance sheet. If a default happened tomorrow, is your asset framework a truly compliant, ironclad security interest, or are you just holding on to phantom collateral?